Hello my friends, welcome to Canadian Immigration Channel. For the last several weeks we received a number of quite disturbing emails where applicants under Atlantic Pilot program were telling us that they applied for a work permit in Canada and unfortunately they were refused. I would probably say obviously they were refused, and the cornerstone here is that people, many of those people, they just do not understand what exactly they're doing with the job offer. I know that many of you got an idea what's going on with immigration. I know that many of you have at least a rough idea of how Atlantic Pilot works, but confusion derives from the fact that Atlantic Pilot allows you to apply for work permits simultaneously with your immigration application. And that's where many of you are actually getting caught, because there is that perception that as soon as you get the job offer and your immigration application in place, you are allowed to apply and you probably would be granted that work permit in Canada. In fact, not. In many cases, your work permit would be refused because one of the points in a work permit in your temporary application, because you're applying for a temporary visa to Canada, is to prove that your work experience, previous one, corresponds to the job offer, that you got enough funds to support yourself, etc., 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 and of course that the nature of this trip would be temporary. So in other words, the fact that you're applying for immigration has nothing to do with the work permit itself, right? I'm coming to work in Canada, but if my application for immigration would be refused, I will return back home. And that's where many of you are actually failing, right? So this misunderstanding comes to the point where we started receiving more than 20 emails for the last couple of weeks, and believe me, that's a lot for those of you who were unfortunately refused. But as I said, they were obviously refused because understanding of this core principle was not there. You have to convince officers that no matter what, you will be able to return back to your home country. And if, say, you're from UAE, where you're staying temporarily, and in fact you're not from this country, and your chances to be employed after you were absent for a couple of years and you're close to zero because your visa is revoked now. Now, basically what happens in the eyes of a visa officer, your application should be refused because you do not have a home country to return to, you do not have a career history in your home country because, for example, for the last 10 years you were sitting in UAE, etc., etc., etc. So bottom line here, before applying, even though you got a work permit, you got a job offer, everything looks perfectly fine, just don't be lazy. Send us an email. Ask a question. I mean, it never hurts, right? If that's a question which does not require us to sit on a consultation, we would be able to respond to you right away. If it does, well, we would tell you well in advance about that. But at least you would have this understanding of what's going on. What should I do in order to minimize my chances to be refused? And it's quite a common situation where your work permit application is rejected while your application for immigration might be accepted. But if your employer is telling you, look, I want you back in here in a couple of days, right, and you're definitely trying to speed things up and relocate to Canada, think twice, take a couple of days, right, plan your trip, plan your application carefully, send us an email, let us consult you, and tell you how to work on it. Well, questions, concerns, feel free to send us an email. Feel free to leave your comment in the comment section below the video, and I will try to answer as many of you as possible. Stay tuned with us, and do not forget to subscribe for YouTube channel and for our Telegram channel as well.